Hello everybody and welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampin' Blondie, and I'm excited to be with you today as I kick off my fall crafting series. Now, it was a crisp New England weekend here and the perfect time to get into that fall crafting season. Now, while the leaves here have not all fully changed just yet, I'm noticing some yellows peeking through some trees, and I'm really excited to see everything when it becomes all yellow and orange and red in the coming weeks. Now, let me just make sure that I'm live here on Facebook and also on YouTube. If you're watching, make sure to comment, say hi, let me know where you're joining from. It's always fun to see where everybody is watching each week. Looks like I am live here on Facebook and on YouTube. So hello everybody. Hello Carol in Connecticut. I'm sure you're getting ready for some fall leaf changes as well. Now, I wasn't live last week because we took a 4-day trip to Boston. Boston is only about 45 minutes. We took the Amtrak train, so it was only about a 40-minute Amtrak trip, and we spent the 4-day weekend in Boston exploring. Now, we had been to Boston before, but just for a day on a cruise stop, so we got to go check out all the areas that we had missed before. And so that's why I wasn't live last week for Makers Monday, but we're back today, and like I said, kicking off my fall crafting series. Hello, Nancy. Oh, she says no sound. Can anybody else hear me? Hopefully there's sound. Hopefully everybody else can hear me. If you can hear me, like a thumbs up or yes, let me know that you can hear me. Carol says no sound, so hopefully everybody else can hear me. Let's see. I hope everybody else can hear what's going on. Okay, sound is fine here. So not sure what's going on, Carol. Hopefully you can hear me fine here in a few minutes. Okay, she went back out and now in, so she has sound. Good, I'm glad you're able to hear now. So thank you everybody for letting me know that you could hear. Sometimes it's, I don't know on my end, but I'm glad it's working here. All right, so today, like I said, I'm going to be creating 3 projects featuring the More Than Autumn bundle. Now, autumn is my favorite time to craft. In my order, it goes fall and then Christmas. I love fall crafting, the change of tones where I move from more of the brights colors to more of the regals section with your cherry cobbler, your crushed curry, those kind of deeper colors. And I really like to craft this time of year and do 3D projects as well. So we are actually going to create 2 cards and a 3D project for the projects here tonight. So before we get started, let's go ahead and swap the camera, and I just have one quick announcement and then we'll jump right into our projects here today. So the first thing is last week I announced my Spooktacular Stampin' Bingo. So I host bingo 4 times a year. It's my customers' favorite event that I host. And because I moved, it was only going to be a virtual event this time. Spooktacular Stampin' Bingo will be held on Saturday, October 5th, which also happens to be World Card Making Day. So we will be celebrating World Card Making Day by making cards featuring the Playful Ghosts stamp set. And this is what that looks like. It's a really cute stamp set that you can step by coloring in with Stampin' Blends or watercolor pencils or Stampin' Write markers. And we're gonna have some fun Halloween themed projects with these. So Playful Ghosts, you can add this on to your Stampin' Bingo registration if you want to create the exact projects that I'm going to be making. If not, you can substitute with whatever you have in your craft supply. The registration link for this is in the description of this video here, so you can go and learn all about what is included in your Stampin' Bingo registration. the event Saturday, October 5th, 1 p.m. Eastern Time via Zoom. So you'll get a private Zoom link and we will create together via Zoom. And the deadline to register is September 21st. So a little less than 2 weeks is the time that you have to register for Spooktacular Stampin' Bingo. So Playful Ghosts is what we'll be using. This is an online exclusive stamp set, not found in the mini catalog, not found in the annual catalog. It is a cling stamp, so traditional red rubber, and it's $20. So it's actually a really good price for this because you get not only images, but you get sentiments as well. So an all-in-one stamp set for Spooktacular Stampin' Bingo. All the details on this event can be found in the link in the description of this video. All right, so that's all I have for announcements today. So yesterday on my website and Facebook and Instagram, I shared this project to give you a sneak peek of what we're going to be creating here today. So it says, grateful it's finally pumpkin spice season. I will admit I am not a huge pumpkin spice person. I prefer apple cider for my fall drinks, but I did make a really good pumpkin marshmallow fluff coffee syrup this weekend. So delicious. But this pumpkin spice card that I created kind of stepped it up a little bit. So you can see these little orange lines here. This is from the, it's called the Plaid, Forever Plaid embossing folder. And what I did is I flipped the embossed piece of paper upside down so that it's the embossed pieces are concaved. And I just took an orange Stampin' Blend marker and drew down the bigger lines of the embossed. So it kind of stands out from the rest of the card. And then this is the stamp set that we're going to create today for our projects. Now, before we jump in, I can't forget Prize Patrol. So each week I do something called Prize Patrol, where all you have to do is share this video, comment that you shared, and you'll be entered into Prize Patrol. So 2 weeks ago, because we did not have Makers Monday last week, 2 weeks ago, the prize was the Perfect Pomegranate stamp set, as well as the cork rounds. And I shared that these are really fun because you can change the color of them with your Stampin' Blends markers. The winner is watching. I saw her name pop up. Corinne, is it Bouvia? I pronounced it wrong. I'm so sorry. But Corinne, you are our Prize Patrol winner from 2 weeks ago. Thank you for sharing my video. This week's Prize Patrol is a package of Orchid Oasis cardstock. Full package, 24 sheets of Orchid Oasis, no longer available through Stampin' Up, so this is the only place you can get it. All you have to do is share this video, comment that you shared, and you're entered into Prize Patrol. Easy peasy, that's it. And Corinne, I have your address. As long as you haven't moved recently in the past year, I have your address, so I will pop that in the mail for you, and congratulations. All right, so today, like I mentioned, we are featuring projects using the More Than Autumn stamp set. I still have your address. Okay, perfect. Actually, this is a bundle. So the More Than Autumn stamp set, this is a set of 36 stamps. So lots and lots of different combinations that you can create using this set. I like this one, again, images and sentiments together, but also it's not just pumpkin spice. You have peppermint, cider, eggnog, hot cocoa. So you can make this project not just for the fall season, but you can also use it during Christmas time as well. Different combinations like grateful it's finally, and then you could do like pumpkin season or peppermint season. You had me at pumpkin spice, which is what I have on one of our projects here. There's also a cute pie stamp and a donut, so you can make apple cider donuts or you can do chocolate donuts and do like a little 3D package with some chocolate donuts. There's also a gingerbread man, apples, marshmallows, peppermint. So you can really mix and match and create a variety of different projects just from this one stamp set. It's photopolymer, meaning completely see-through and clear, so you can see exactly where you're stamping, which is great because you have these coordinating dies to go with it. And then you can align your dies and die cut exactly where you have stamped. So our projects that we're going to work on today, like I said, we're going to do 2 cards and a 3D project. So here is one of the cards. Again, I used that Forever Plaid embossing folder. I feel like it's such a great one, not just for fall, but also getting into Christmas crafting. That plaid embossing folder is going to come in handy. So this is one, Love You More Than Pumpkin Pie. And then we have this one that says Nothing's Better Than Autumn. And we're going to do some die cutting and some coloring. So lots of fun things there. And then my 3D project, I have shared something like this in the past, but I love it so much that I tend to remake it because it's such a great 3D project. Now this uses the Starbucks pumpkin spice latte mixes. You can find these at your local grocery store. They're actually really good. You just mix it with water and then you have a pumpkin spice latte without having to spend all the money like going to Starbucks. But it's just this fun little packet. And if you want to gift it to somebody, the best thing you can do is add glue dots, mini glue dots to the back, and it'll stay in there and then it won't fall out. I just have mine placed in here because I only have 1 packet left and I want to show it to you in the final project as well. So this is the little pumpkin spice latte packet that we will create as well. Now, don't forget, each week I offer these projects as a class kit to go. So if you place an order on my website, right here on the video, there's the link. You can choose $35 in any of product supplies of your choice prior to shipping and tax, and I will send you the kit pieces for this week's Makers Monday. Do you know if the Iconic DSP is back in stock? As of, let me check. I was looking just a few minutes ago because I have this on my paper share and it is back in stock. Yes, it looks like it is. I need to order it for my paper share because that was the one paper I couldn't order when I ordered the rest of my paper share stuff, and it looks like it is as of right now. I just refreshed it and it is back in stock. So thank you for asking, because I was going to mention that it was out of stock, but it is back in stock right now. So let me go back to my Facebook page there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're going to work on our, this is Lost Lagoon card first. So Lost Lagoon goes really well with these projects. Even though it's not your typical, quote, fall color, it looks really good when it is paired with Basic Beige, which I have here. Now, don't forget, on my website each week, stampinblondie.com, I have a project PDF tutorial that you can print out. It has all of the item names, numbers, and prices of the 3 projects that I'm creating here today. So you can go on there and check it out and see what is being used on today's projects. You're welcome for checking. I have to place an order for that, so I'm glad you asked, because as soon as I get off here, I'm gonna place that order to make sure I get that paper back. Okay, so we have Basic Beige cardstock, like I mentioned, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, your traditional card base size. Now, I've already pre-embossed this just to save some time because I only wanted to use my small Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine today. I didn't want to get the big one out. This one, embossing folder, you have to use the large Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I didn't want to have to lug the big one on for the video. So these dies fit in the small one, so we're going to use the small one. So I pre-embossed it for you. And we have another piece of Basic Beige cardstock and a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. This is die cut with the Nested Essentials dies, one of my favorite go-to die sets. All right, we're gonna first glue this embossed piece down to our card base. Now on that card I shared yesterday, I had talked about the embossing being the concaved, and that's what I took my Stampin' Write marker to, but I want my embossed piece this side. I want the bumps to be on the outside. So we're gonna use this side, and I like to use my liquid glue for embossing just because it gets in those creases and crevices of the paper, and it really helps it bond to the cardstock just a little bit better. And we're gonna put this off to the side while we work on our piece of basic beige. We're gonna get our grid paper out, our scrap paper to cover our work area here. And we're gonna work with pecan pie, or pecan, however you say it, ink, and we're just gonna create our own designer series paper. So we're just gonna take the little pumpkin stamp and just kind of stamp it all over the background here in various directions to create our own pattern paper. It's really fun to use the stamps to create your own paper because it's a great way to stretch your stamp sets and use them in a variety of ways. But then sometimes designer series paper just seems a little overwhelming for your project. So this is the best way to kind of get that image in the background there without being too overwhelming. Okay, we're gonna glue this down to our card base. Again, liquid glue, even though this piece is not embossed, what we're gluing it to is embossed. So we're gonna add that there and put that off to the side. Our die cut piece, normally I like to use this like a flag banner, but we're gonna turn it on its side and we're gonna stamp at the top the sentiment that says, "Love you more than," and then we're gonna stamp pie as well. So the "Love you more than" is gonna go at the top here. And then the word pie is gonna go in the lower right. Okay, and close up our ink. Move these off to the side. And put that out of the way too. And now we're gonna stamp our pumpkin pie here. I just have a scrap piece of basic white cardstock, and we're gonna use Tuxedo black ink because we're gonna color it in with Stampin' Blends. When you use Stampin' Blends, you wanna use Tuxedo black Memento ink because you don't want your ink to bleed when you color in with the blends. So we have our pie, and we're gonna bring in our grid paper back because we always wanna cover our workspace when we work with Stampin' Blends. And for this, we're gonna use light and dark pumpkin pie Stampin' Blends, and then the dark crumb cake Stampin' Blends. I don't need the light one, just the dark one. And we're gonna color in the crust first here. Now, normally with Stampin' Blends, they're meant to be blended together to create kind of highlights and shadows, and we're gonna do that on another project. But for this one, we're just gonna use them as a coloring medium, no blending involved. So the bottom of the pie is gonna be light pumpkin pie. And we're just gonna color it in here. Now, of course, when you have pumpkin pie in real life, the top is always darker because it kind of gets like that crystallization from the oven. So we're gonna color the top of it dark pumpkin pie so it looks like a real piece of pumpkin pie. And the last part is every Thanksgiving, when we have pumpkin pie, I notice that if you leave pumpkin pie out for a little bit, it kind of gets that like shiny top to it. I guess condensation, I don't know what it is, but we're gonna add a little bit of that glistening to it with a bit of Wink of Stella, but we're gonna do that after we die cut it. I don't wanna run Wink of Stella through the die cut machine because it doesn't dry instantly. It does dry fairly quickly, but I don't want to run that through the machine. So first we're gonna take our pumpkin pie die, and I'm just gonna trim this down here. My husband loves pumpkin pie. I love pumpkin pie too, but I'd rather have like apple pie. My husband though, he loves pumpkin pie, and of course the only way for him to eat pumpkin pie is like with mounds and mounds of Cool Whip on top. I mean, it's like, do you want some pumpkin pie with your Cool Whip? Like that much. But that's the only way to eat it. Okay, so I've taken a piece of washi tape to hold down our pie here. I don't want it to shift and shimmy in the die cut machine. So we're gonna run it through here. It's gonna crack as it cuts. There we go. And we have our piece of pumpkin pie. Okay, take our washi tape off slowly because you don't want to rip your paper. And now you can add that little bit of Wink of Stella to the top of your pie to make it glisten like it's right out of the oven. Okay, and I'm gonna set that off to the side just for a few seconds to kind of dry a little bit. Yes, pumpkin pie with Cool Whip. You have to have it. Okay, we're gonna take our flagged piece here of crumb cake and we're gonna add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back. And flip this over and add that to our card. Now our pumpkin pie, with that Wink of Stella, you can, if it's not enough glitter for you, you can always build it. So that's the best part about Wink of Stella. It's buildable. The more and more layers you add, the more and more glitter it is. So it is a great way to kind of layer that on there. So Love You More Than Pumpkin Pie. We're gonna take 2 pieces of linen thread, one of my favorite ribbons to use because it's so versatile. Goes with just about every project. And I'm taking about 7 inches of it. Yes, that's the way my daughter eats it. You can't find the pie. Yes, it's got to be covered in whipped cream. I mean, that's what it's all about. So good. All right, and we've got our 2 pieces of linen thread here. We're just gonna make it how we want it, pull it tight, and then you can take all 4 tails and cut them at the same time. Now I'm gonna use my mini glue dots to glue that on here and take that into a little ball, and we're gonna add it right below our pie here. Now on all the projects today, I'm gonna be using, these are the Earth Tone Shimmer Gems. They come in 4 different colors, like a very vanilla, basic beige. I would say this is more kind of like a garden green and a Cajun Craze. Don't quote me on those exact colors, but that's what I'm guesstimating that they are right now. And we're gonna use 3 of the small, very vanilla, if I can get them off my finger. I must have glue on my finger. 3 of the small, very vanilla gems, and we're gonna place 2 here, and then a larger one down here. And there is our first project today featuring the More Than Autumn bundle. I love this card, super simple. The colors are great. That orange from the pumpkin pie really pops against the card. And Love You More Than Pumpkin Pie, such a fun card to give somebody. I do that bow so easily. I have years of practice, and when I lived in Tucson, all of the Club Craft and Create girls would have me do their ribbons for them. So I am a pro at tying ribbons. That's especially these little thin ones. But yes, such a fun card. I love the colors on that one. All right, our second project tonight, this one, Nothing's Better Than Autumn. We're gonna do some die cutting, and I'm gonna show you some tips on how to create these little leaves here without having them fall apart, because when you die cut them, they come in 2 pieces. So let's get started. We have a piece. I've got a bunch of pieces for this project. We're not using all of them. I just have some spare paper in here if I need it. Our first is our card base, Pecan Pie, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Let's get out our bone folder, crisp up our line there. We have another piece of pecan pie, and we're gonna place that on top. But first, we are going to tie. This is the new Wild Wheat Rustic 3/8 striped ribbon. That's quite the name. But it is, it's kind of a mesh ribbon. You can see it's kind of see-through here. But it is wild wheat, a great color, which is this right here, a great color for fall crafting. When I first saw this color, I was like, oh, I don't really know about it. Some people compared it to some baby poo-poo, but it is a perfect color for fall crafting. So we're gonna first take our wild wheat ribbon, and I'm just gonna take enough to go across the front of my card, and we're gonna wrap it around the back about 1/4 of the way from the bottom. You don't want it right in the middle, and you don't want it too close to the bottom, because we're gonna put that die cut circle right over the top of it. And I'm gonna use Scotch tape for this. Nobody's gonna see the back of this, so Scotch tape is perfect. It is a great adhesive to have in your craft room. And we're just gonna make sure that is straight, and we're gonna do the other side here too. And there we go. Now, before we put this down, we're going to stamp our sentiment, Nothing's Better Than Autumn. And this is gonna be in early espresso. I didn't wanna do tone-on-tone stamping. Pecan pie ink on pecan pie paper it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be. So first we're gonna stamp the Nothing's Better Than. Make sure it's right side up. And that's gonna go in the upper left corner. And then right below that is Autumn. There you go. And then we can put our early espresso away. Now we can add Stampin' Dimensionals to the back of this, and we can add that to our card base. I wanted to make sure I stamped first before I added the dimensionals, because if I added this card piece and then the dimensionals, when I try to stamp, it could be uneven a little bit. So stamp first, then add your dimensionals and adhere it to your card base. There we go. And that's gonna go right in this center. Okay, now I've already pre-die cut from, this is the Iconic Celebrations Designer Series paper. The one that I had mentioned was out of stock earlier, but is now back in stock. Here's the back side. We're gonna use that on the next project. But this, I die cut this, let me make sure I tell you the right name, because I always get this confused. The Everyday Details dies. So that's what this is from. There's circles and squares, and they have these little holes around the outside to give it something a little bit extra. So we can add this on with dimensionals. Now I'm only gonna add 2 dimensionals, one on top, one on the bottom, and it's going to straddle that piece of ribbon. You don't wanna add dimensionals on the left and right, because then it could be right on top of that ribbon. So just add that there. And then we can work on our coffee cup. Spare piece of basic white cardstock, and we're gonna stamp it again in Tuxedo. And we're gonna start first with our cup and stamp that. Next, we're gonna do our whipped cream. Gotta have a whipped cream. And our little tiny pumpkin that we used on our last card, we're gonna use on this one again. And we're just going to clean that off and stamp this one as well. There we go. And then we're gonna color them all in. So bring in our grid paper So we have our workspace covered. Now for this, we're gonna use light and dark crumb cake. Let me just make sure, light, dark crumb cake. We need our dark and light pecan pie. And then for the whipped cream, I kind of wanted it to just not be so flat white. So I'm adding some of the light smoky slate ink. Where is it? Right here. Light smoky slate, just to kind of outline the curves of the whipped cream, just to kind of give it a little bit of definition. It's not just so flat on the paper. It looks a little more 3D. So to do that, all I did is I take the marker end and I just kind of follow the little outlines of the whipped cream. And then it gives it a little something extra. So you can see just a little extra there. Okay, on our coffee cup, we're gonna start with our light crumb cake, and we're gonna color in the cup. And then we're gonna use our dark Stampin' Blend for the crumb cake, color in some of the edges here, and this will help give it some of that shadowing. And then we're going to come back in with the light and just lightly blend out that color. You don't want to erase the whole thing, but then it gives it the look of being shadowed a little bit. So again, not so flat. And then the last bit, we're going to take our light pumpkin pie, color in the pumpkin, and then just take our dark and again around those lines of the pumpkin. And there's our 3 easy coloring of Stampin' Blends. And you can see they're very simple. You don't have to be the best colorist in the world. I am actually not very good coloring with like blending and stuff, but when I use the Stampin' Blends, I feel like a true artist. Okay, we're gonna die cut these all at the same time. So we have our coffee cup. Let me get all these little dies out here. So we have our coffee cup, and we're gonna use washi tape for all of these because you just spent the time coloring it in. You wanna make sure they stay. And then our whipped cream. We've got our washi tape on that one. And then our little itty bitty pumpkin. I need to get a new piece of washi tape for that piece. Oops, knocked over my, what's it called? Stampin' Scrub. Okay, and now we can run them all through at the same time. Now, while I'm running this through, I'm also going to run some of these leaves. Now, I mentioned before that I'm going to show you a trick. So this is the leaf die. It is one die, but when you die cut it, it cuts out the middle and the top, or the outside, all at the same time. So I'm going to show you some tricks on how to work with this to get it and not have it all fall apart. So we're going to take our pokey tool. The dies have these little holes on the back, so you're going to just take your tool and poke out all of this, and you can see it kind of comes out. Now I don't want to pull it out because it'll pull the whole thing, the middle out, so you can see when you die cut it, it has the stem of the outside and then the inside, but I don't want it to come apart. But we're gonna keep it as together as much as we can, but I'm still gonna show you that trick. So we're gonna run through another one of these, an orange one, and then 2 yellow, well, wild wheat. So here's our, this is pumpkin pie paper that I used here for this one. Gently, because I really don't want them to come apart. go. Okay, and then our 2 wild wheat leaves. Hopefully I can get 2 on there. Love my layering. Thank you. These were really fun to make. Like I said, it's starting to turn fall here. Yesterday we were eating breakfast outside on our deck, and I was like, oh look, that tree has just a couple of yellow leaves in it. It's still not peak season. Like peak I think is like middle October. So we still have a bit to go, but it's not, like I can tell that some of them are starting to turn. And I'm excited to see all of them when they're like full peak. We booked a trip. If you've ever heard of Stowe, Vermont, it is a big leaf peeping area, and so we booked a trip there in October to go see all the sights and the leaves and all of that. So I'm very excited. Okay, so our trick for these little leaves, like I mentioned, we have these 2 pieces here. Now the middle can pop out, but I don't want the middle to pop out. I want it to stay all in one piece. So what I found is I'm gonna take 4 mini glue dots off my paper here, and we're gonna take the mini glue dots and we're gonna stick our leaves onto these to keep them together for the back. And then when we assemble it, I'll show you the trick to put them on the other way. So there we go. So that'll keep it all together with the die cuts in there. Okay, we've got our die cut cup, our whipped cream, and our pumpkin. So very excited. It's gonna be beautiful. I'm very excited for that trip. The Von Trapp family has a lodge there. I guess, I don't know if they like moved to Vermont after being in Austria or something. I'm not sure, but we're gonna learn about it. And so they have a lodge there, and we're gonna have dinner there one night. So we've got our cup and our whipped cream, and we're gonna add a little bit of liquid glue right on the brim of the cup here to add our whipped cream. And then our pumpkin, we're gonna add on with a glue dot. And I'm gonna use a mini glue dot, or not glue dot, dimensional, a mini dimensional. And that's gonna go in the middle of our cup here. There we go. Okay, our leaves. So we have these connected by the back, but now we wanna add them here. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do the same thing. We're gonna add mini glue dots to the front. So now they're gonna be layered and sandwiched in between. The piece of cardstock will have a glue dot on the back, a glue dot on the front. So it'll be able to stick to the paper, and it'll also be able to stick to the back of our cup, and so that we can have everything kept together and it won't come apart. So glue dot here, and then you're just gonna carefully lift it up, and then you can place it, let me turn my paper the right way, you can place it on the back of your cup, and now it's sticky on the back as well, so that you have it ready to add to your paper. So you can do, it keeps coming apart. So now I'm gonna do the same with the orange one. Sounds like an amazing fall getaway. Yes, we had to book it because everything was filling up. Like, we're lucky we found a place that wasn't like $2,000. I'm not lying, some of the places were that expensive. It was crazy. But we found a little ski lodge, like Airbnb thing. I don't know. There's not going to be any snow to ski, which I don't ski anyways, but it'll still be fun to like stay in that little place. Okay, our mini glue dot here on the top again. So now You just have to be very gentle with these because they're so thin and you don't want to rip anything that you just worked hard to put together. What state are you in? I'm in Rhode Island. I just recently moved to Rhode Island in July. My husband is in the military, and so he is attending school here for the year. So we're only in Rhode Island for a year, but it is a lot different from where we moved from in Arizona. Okay, and there we go. So now we have our, it's gotta be really gentle, like I said. Now we have our fall themed cup with our little, I don't wanna rip it, there we go. With our leaves on either side. It's a little intensive. It takes a little bit of time, but once you get it all together, it's really, really pretty. Now on the back of this, we're gonna add dimensionals to the top and the bottom, just like that first piece we did. The glue dots will help stick it in the middle, but we still need, because it's a couple layers of cardstock together, you still wanna add dimensionals here, and that'll go right in the middle. And then you can kind of stick down the leaves on the paper. We're gonna add another piece of that wild wheat ribbon, and we're just gonna tie this into a bow right here. Where would I like to go after the year is up? So we lived in Europe for 4 years. We lived in Italy, and I would love to go back to Europe. Most likely it would be like Germany if we would go back there. Of course, I'd love to go back to Arizona. I feel like Arizona is almost like my home now. But I don't know. We could go to he could go to the Pentagon, so we could move to DC. I don't know. I don't have like a super preference because it's like where they tell us to go now. Okay, and now the last bit, we're gonna come in with these like basic beige colored fine shimmer gems. We're gonna add 2 in the corner here, 1 in the lower corner, and there is our second card today featuring the More Than Autumn bundle. This one took a little bit more to put together. We had some die cutting, some coloring, but this one was really fun, and when it's all put together, it's totally worth the time it takes to make this project. So I hope you guys liked this one just as much as that first. All right, we're gonna move into our 3D project now. So let's get, okay, here it is. Let me grab that. Let me get some of this stuff out of the way so I can get this all ready. Where did that little thing go? I had the packet, so I just want to make sure that I have it so I can show you guys. There it is. So once again, here is the little card packet. Let's get some of that out of the way too. So we have a piece. I'm going to tell you guys the dimensions on this one. Yep, I have it right here. So you want a piece of, this is Cajun Craze cardstock, and it is 2.5 by 10 3/4. Now I need to get out my paper trimmer. So we're going to do some scoring as well, but I want to see if I already pre-cut this or not. Okay, I already did. So at this, we're gonna score. I just want to make sure, because I cut it, or I scored it and then I cut it. So let's see. Yeah. So you're gonna score it at 6 3/4. So I am using my paper trimmer with my scoring blade on it. I do have a Simply Score tool, but we're doing 2 scores, so I don't need a whole Simply Score out. So at 6 3/4, you're gonna score, and then a 1/2 inch shorter than that. So at 6 1/4, let me flip it around. It's hard to do when I'm already pre-cut it. I shouldn't have pre-cut it, but, and then we're gonna cut score this just a quarter smaller. Is it a quarter? Let me see. Let me just make sure. Sorry, half smaller. So let me score it and then I'll tell you the final measurements. So you have a piece of 2.5 by 10 3/4, and we scored on the long side at 6 3/4 and 7 1/4. Okay, so then you have this little just folded packet thing. Now, if you decide to get a different type of coffee, like if I know they have like different packets of different brands, you may have to adjust your measurements. This is just for the Starbucks instant pumpkin spice. So depending on what coffee brand you decide to use, you may have to trim yours up a little bit smaller. So the Iconic Celebrations Designer Series paper, same paper that we used for that other one. This is gonna be, we have a 2 3/8 piece by 3 3/8. That's gonna be our front piece right here. So we're gonna glue that on right now before I forget. So 2 3/8 by 3 3/8, and you want your pumpkins to be going the right direction. Here, let's make sure it's not crooked. Now on the inside, you have a piece of 3 3/4 by 2 3/8. And we're gonna have this side of the paper, the plaid side. So I'm just gonna add that here, and that's gonna go. Here's the inside of our paper. Okay, there we go. So then when you fold it up, you have your pumpkins, make sure they're going the right direction, and then your paper there. Now I've pre-die cut a piece of basic white cardstock. This, see, I get confused because there are two circles. This is the, why didn't I put this name of these dies on here? They're dies from the catalog. Something, I can't remember the name, but they have little Spotlight on Nature dies. That's what they are. Spotlight on Nature, and it has these little like hash around the outside. Okay, we're gonna stamp again our pumpkin drink, our whipped cream, and then we're gonna die cut the word pumpkin as well. So let's stamp our tuxedo black here. Now these are great if you have kids that you give teacher gifts to. This would be a really great little fall teacher gift. I like to give these to like my mailman, my UPS guy, because they always come and bring me Stampin' Up! Packages, or they grab your guys' class kits from me. So I like to give these to like just little nice little gift. You can even wrap it in plastic and put a bow on top if you want. Okay, our grid paper, we're gonna come in and color this. Now for this one, we're gonna use Wild Wheat and our crumb cake again. And then also that light smoky slate from our whipped cream before. So these are really fun, like little gifts. Also, if you do craft fairs, you could sell these at craft fairs. I know at Christmas, Starbucks has these for like peppermint mocha. So you could even do this same project with like peppermint mocha. Love you more than peppermint for your sentiment instead. So we're gonna do wild wheat, light wild wheat first for the middle of the cup here. And I chose wild wheat because our ribbon is wild wheat, so it's tying everything in together. We have our dark, which we're just gonna color there, and then use our light to blend it out. Then our crumb cake, again, light crumb cake for the cup. And you could really color these however you want. I know here in the Northeast, Dunkin' Donuts is big. I don't know if Dunkin' has packets like this, but I do know that they have pumpkin spice K-Cups. Now, I have shown in the past, here's a project. You can go and search through my video history, but it is a little K-Cup holder, and you can put a pumpkin spice K-Cup and then decorate it with pumpkin spice stuff. So just another little detail there if you want to do pumpkin spice Dunkin' cups. Okay, our coffee cup, our whipped cream with our washi tape. You want that washi tape. Don't forget that. That's going to hold it down in place when you run it through the machine so it doesn't move stuff around. Okay, we're going to add this into our machine. We're also going to take a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock and the die that says pumpkin. So it's just a regular word die, and we're going to run these through the machine all at the same time. It's a good arm workout if you have a lot of these to make. Okay, so we're going to move all this, put some of this stuff away here. Our coffee cup, again, lift it off slow. You don't want to tear that paper that you just spent all of that hard work on coloring. Okay. And then your pumpkin word, you'll have to take your pick tool and poke it out here. You can also use wax paper, and it'll help it run it through the machine, and it'll just pop right out of the word sentiment. But we've got that. Okay, we're gonna glue on our whipped cream again. So a little bit of liquid glue right at the top, and then our whipped cream here. We're gonna do our sentiment on a piece of basic beige cardstock, just a scrap paper, and it's gonna say, "Love you more than," and we're gonna stamp that in tuxedo black. And we're gonna cut that at an angle on either side. So that's what these little scraps are great for, because you can use them for sentiments like this. Okay, we're gonna assemble now. So we have our whipped cream on our coffee cup. That's just gonna go on with regular glue. It's gonna go on our die cut at an angle. Our sentiment, "Love you more than," we're gonna put on with Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm gonna use mini dimensionals just because it's so thin. And that's gonna go, that didn't go in the garbage at all. There you go. And then this is gonna go right across here. Now our word pumpkin, you can see how thin that is. Very, very thin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my fine tip glue, and what I do is just in the middle of the word, from like the M to the K, just right in there. I'm just gonna add little dabs, if it'll come out. I tested this before we went live, come on. There we go. Maybe not. Let's take a, I made sure it worked before we went live. There, maybe that'll help. There we go. We're gonna take this and just little teeny tiny bits of glue. You don't want a lot. I probably have too much on here, but that's okay. And you're gonna put this right below, very gently. Now, a word of caution. If you gift this to somebody, the N on this is meant to hang off. You can see it's on, the N is hanging off here. It'll get bent. So just be careful if you're gifting it to somebody that you may want to move the word pumpkin over a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna assemble this like it's a brand new one. So I have my pumpkin spice latte in here. And like I said, if you're gonna gift it to somebody, add some glue dots, it'll hold that into place. We're gonna take our wild wheat ribbon and we're gonna run it underneath, and probably don't need a ton of ribbon, but that much looks good. And we're gonna tie it off on the side. This is gonna hold your latte packet in place, and you'll have that cute little bow on the side as well. So there we go, tie it tight. And I'm just tying it into a simple bow. I'm not doing any kind of fancy knot or anything, just a bow. You may have to play with it a little bit to get it how you want it. But when you have your glue dots in there, you won't have to worry about that falling out. Okay, our pumpkin little piece here, we're gonna add this on with glue dots. Or not glue dots, why do I keep calling them glue dots? Dimensionals. Here we go, dimensionals. One on top, one on the bottom. We're gonna straddle that piece of ribbon right there. And we're gonna add 2 of the Cajun Craze dots, 1 large, 1 small with the fine shimmer, and that is our 3rd project here today, featuring the More Than Autumn bundle. Like I said, if you want to gift this to somebody, add those glue dots, maybe tie it, put it in a little plastic bag with a bow on top, so you don't have to worry about anything getting crushed. But that is our last project today. I hope you guys like this one. Like I said, I've created something like this in the past before, but I love these pumpkin spice latte packets, and they're so fun to be able to create these little gifts with them. I debated making that little K-cup thing that I showed you guys, but the punch at the top, this little tag punch, is discontinued. So I wouldn't have been able, I would have had to kind of recreate, but this would be another fun little gift to create with this More Than Autumn bundle as well, if you can get creative with that. All right, we're gonna bring in all 3 projects here today. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. We have our little pumpkin spice latte kit, our packet here, our Lost Lagoon, and then our More Than Autumn. So let me know in the comments which one is your favorite here today. I have to say, this little pumpkin spice latte packet, definitely my favorite because I've created it more than once, and I just love how fun it is to gift it to somebody that really means something special to you in your life. All right, well, thank you everybody for joining me for another week of Makers Monday. I look forward to continuing my fall crafting series with you next week with some autumn leaves projects. I look forward to seeing you